Hi guys. I thought I would take this opportunity to talk to you about your story this week called "The Life and Times of the Ant." I have it on my computer here, so that's why I keep looking over there. This is an informational piece or an informational text. So if you look on page 410, you'll see that this is an informational text that really focuses on text and graphic features, which everybody think right now we all have them hanging in our classroom, the list of informational text features. So as you're reading through the story, I really want you to pay attention to what features that you notice when you're reading this piece. I also want you to think about that essential question. So on page 411, it goes over that essential question: how do living things each have an important role in this world? And I want you to think about the fact that living things is more than humans. There are animals and there are sea creatures and insects, lots of different things. And our story here focuses on the life and times of the ant. And so I want you to think about that essential question in terms of, is something as tiny and little as an ant. And as you go through this story, I want you to understand that an ant does have a purpose in this world. Rather than being annoying to us sometimes, there is a purpose. And so I want you to focus on that as you're going through this story, reading it. Okay. So I would like to take a moment to go over the vocabulary. So if you flip your page to, let's see here, in the book, it's page 406 and 407. Okay. So I'm going to go through a couple of these words, just talk about them for you today. But focusing on those 2 pages in your text is going to be very, very helpful to you. Okay, so I'm going to go out of order just because I want to talk about them. So look at that first one. We'll start with social. And in your book, it says many animals are social. They live together in organized groups. So I want you to think about the word social, that we are social beings, which means that, humans live with humans and ants live with ants and, fish live with fish. So they are social. Nobody really lives on our own. So everybody lives every living creature lives together in a group of some kind that is comparable to them, that is alike. So we are all social beings because we congregate, we interact with those that are similar to us. Humans interact with humans. We are a social group. You're never going to see that everybody is on their own in their own simple way. So think about that social, and as you're reading through, think about how an ant is very social, actually, very social. On to the next one. Let's move on to the word. Where are we here? On page 407, look at the word obstacles. It says there are no obstacles blocking the entry to this rabbit's home. So an obstacle, when we think of an obstacle, I automatically jump to an obstacle course. And an obstacle course, we can't get through it because there are barriers or things that are blocking us. So an obstacle could be something physical like that, a barrier. It could be something that's not. It could be an idea. An obstacle is something that's making us stop. Maybe, if we have a cold or something, it's making us not, like if we have a fever and we can't come to school, that's an obstacle that's interfering in our daily habits. It could be something that just simply puts a block or a barrier on something that you're doing. So an obstacle. I want you to think about that in this particular piece here is what obstacles do ants have as they go through their daily life, or the practice that they follow, as you will see in the story. Let's go on to the word chamber. It's on the top of page 407. So chamber, this wasp is working in a hollow chamber of its hive's nest. It's so small to read, sorry. So that is such an interesting picture. Look at that picture. That's where the wasps live, and that's where they work, in each one of those little, what are they, hexagonal, so 6 six-sided figures. They're each called a chamber. It's a separate little place. It's like a little room. So if you refer to it in like your house, like you may have a chamber that's your bedroom. You may have a chamber that's the kitchen. You know, it's a separate room. Something different happens in each one of those chambers or each one of those rooms. So in this case, in the story here, you're going to have to look and see, what do the ants do in each one of their chambers? Okay, perfect. Go on to reinforce. So reinforce. I lost it. Here it is. Elephants reinforce or strengthen their bond as they protect their young. So that's more of an idea. So they strengthen their bond so they become really strong together to protect their young. Humans do that too, right? You could also think about the word reinforce as something that's creating a stronger base to hold something up. Like I was thinking, like I'm sitting on my deck right now and I know my deck is reinforced. It's strong because underneath there's extra pieces of wood and plywood in different areas to reinforce the strength and hold us up. So I want you to think about how ants reinforce, how they have that too, okay? Let me go. Let's go to storage. Oh, yes. I bet. I'm going to guess that as you're all home right now, your parents are going through different areas of storage and cleaning it out. Or maybe you are doing that. So storage, let's read that. Squirrels save food in storage. They can get food from that place later. So like, let's see, I'm finding out that lately I'm making dinners that are way too big. So I have to put the extra in storage. So I put them in little bins or little containers to save it for the next day. So that's storage. I may also store my holiday decorations in a storage bin or a storage box in my basement. Okay, so somewhere where you can hold it till later. That, I feel like that brings me to the word excess, because I just said excess. Excess, people harvest only excess honey from a beehive. The bees need the rest to live. So excess is extra, okay? So something that's an extra amount, like I go back to my dinner, you know, I've been making dinners and I make way too much. So I put the excess or the extra amount in storage. So an excess is when you go over the limit or over your expectation of what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? Did I hit them? So let's see here. Storage, reinforced chamber, exchange. Oh, let's come back to that one. Scarce obstacles, storage. Yes, exchange, transport, and transfers, I think that we've hit. So exchange, transport, and transfers. I left those to the end because I feel like a lot of them are very similar. So let's go through them individually for a moment. Okay, so exchange is number 2 in your book on page 406. Some people have seen exchanges in which dolphins give and receive food. So an exchange is when you give one thing and you get another, okay? So I may exchange my pencil for a pen. You know, if I give my daughter a pencil, she might give me a pen in return. So exchange is when you are each giving something and each getting something. So so the dolphins give food, they get, and then they receive it. Okay, so that's exchange. If we move on to transfers, that's at the bottom of page 407. Humankind transfers or passes along information through teaching. So when you transfer, you're actually taking something and you're giving it. You're not necessarily receiving back. So transfer is when you move from something from one place to another. It could be I pick up my plant and move it to this place. That could be I transferred my plant. But it could also be, like in this case, knowledge. I transfer my knowledge. Right now, I'm giving you my knowledge. And I'm not expecting you to give me anything right now. So we're not exchanging knowledge. I'm giving it to you. I'm transferring it to you. Okay? And then finally, the other one was transport, which is also a movement word. Where transport is on page 407. Working together is handy when a group has to transport or move a big project. So when we transport, we carry something from one place to another. So we're going to transport something. So I might take my, my big plant and I may move it over here. So I'm just transporting it. I'm not really changing anything. I'm just moving the location. So I want you to really pay attention to those last 3 words because they are really, really close in meaning. So if you're having trouble with them, please reach out to your teacher and ask about that too, okay? Awesome. So enjoy the story. I think it's really cool, and I challenge you to try to make some sketchnoting of your own as you're going through this story because it is very easy to do, and you can diagram. If we were in class, we would be diagramming this definitely and labeling and looking at how these ants interact and how their value is on. And then always think back to that essential question as well. So what was that essential question? How do living things each have an important role in this world? Okay, thanks. We'll talk to you later. Bye.